Sus. Okay. Hello. First
Hello,
rankings.
first rankings.
I'm feeling so much better about the season than I was A, yesterday, and B, when we did our draft.
See, I've always been high on the season. Yeah, so if you watch the draft, you may have walked away from it being like, oh, Scott and Stephen are so boring now. They don't have anything to say. Wrong. We were stressed and we didn't know these people.
And it
Now I
was
know these
midnight. It
people
was
and I
midnight,
have
and I
no
just didn't find it.
problem ripping into them. So,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
um, I'm very excited because I have a lot of pent up thoughts. Because as much as strategically, this is pretty much like a 0 week. It didn't need to be anything but a 0 week. Like the zero was fine. I'm not mad at the zero. I'm really not mad at the zero based on the outcome. But socially, I think this is the most social week one we've had in a while. Where it's like people just like love to get to know each other more than anything, which
Which
is
is great.
awesome.
Love that.
Lots to talk about. A lot of different things. I guess just the overarching week
Oh,
things would be it was really funny. Day one was just like everyone getting to know each other, not a single talk of an alliance. And then it was all of a sudden, everyone and their damn mother decided now is the time to make alliances. So the game itself, I think, is in a very confused state,
mm-hmm.
largely because no lines had to be drawn. So I'll be interested to see where everyone stands.
All right, well, let's get to it. Dive right in. We'll start with Alexandra. We're going alphabetical again this season. Scott, what are your thoughts on Alexandra?
Yeah, I'll start. Alexandra, I I say surprise in a very, very positive way. I feel like in general, I'll speak from Stephen and I's experience. The friend from college that gets dragged into Big Brother, that archetype of people typically doesn't have a good track record of being good players. Unfortunately, I point out Caroline from season 8. I point out Aaron from
Okay, I
season
was gonna point out my friend, but okay.
um Camilo did all right. Jordana did all right.
Anna, we're gonna see. We're gonna
And
see.
we'll get to Anna. But Alexandra is a friend from college, not one of our friends, Grace Del Pizzo's friend from seasons 3 and 5. And Alexandra's killing it. I'm so happy for her. I think a lot of people like her. I think she's in a lot of good social standings. Um, she's got a really good duo with Paige, it
Mhm.
seems. I think those two are going to be really, really good to look out for. I feel like they see themselves in a similar position in the game, and quite frankly, they are. And I like that they're paired up. She's also in the house, which is an alliance with herself and Paige, Eric, Dolly, Jacob, and EJ, which I think is great for her. If I had to guess, like that's going to be the alliance to watch out for this season. I think
Mhm.
I would be shocked if the game stayed as it is, which of course, like generally it doesn't, but I would be shocked if any of them went before the jury. Um,
Also, like,
Again,
I need to say this on ranking. Stellar alliance name. I always love good, fun alliance names that go with the theme of the season. The House, such a fun, creative, like Big Brother name. You have Missouri Compromise, so funny. Like, come on. What other?
yeah,
I
the,
can't even
the
think of
house
any.
is great. Kudos to Eric on that. Slightly better than the other proposed name by Dally, My Little
We
Pony.
were either gonna get the House or a My Little Pony
My Little
reference, and I was
Pony.
like,
No shoot to Dally, My Little Pony, not it. Was not it. But that's okay, because we ended up with the house. Yeah, I'm feeling very good about Alexandra. I think she's a good head on her shoulders. She's pretty well connected and well liked, even with the people outside of her lines. And I think a lot of people see her as like, oh, you haven't played these games before. Okay, I'll show you the ropes, which I think is going to be their mistake because I think Alexandra's smart. I'm going to start off with a fairly positive score. I'm going to give Alexandra a 6.
that's where I'm also going as well. Actually, I think I'm trying to kind of set the scale for myself because I feel like my later scores are always based off my earlier scores, and I want to make sure that I'm giving everyone a fair like assessment. But
Mhm.
honestly, like I think that 5 is a perfect average score, and I think Alexandra has surpassed average. I think she
Yeah.
is being really social for the has been really social for the first few days of the game. And I really only can I don't see anyone like looking at her this early in the game. Some people who are being social and some people who are liked. We'll get to them that I feel like could be targeted like in the pre-jury phase of the game. Alexandra, I don't see that for her right now, and I think if she continues to build relationships, I think she has a great future in this game. So sixes for Alexandra.
I think this is a good time to also mention for those new on the rankings, a bit of generally what the rankings mean.
Oh yes.
So if you get a 1, you have you're doing something actively wrong, like really bad. Like, come on, it's rare that people get 1s, which makes it really special when they do get given out. Um, so there's that. 2s and 3s, not good. You're on your way out the door if you weren't already evicted. Yada yada yada. 4, not in good standing with the house. Your name's probably been brought up a couple times. 5, you're probably safe for now, but you're not that connected. Could go up, could go down, kind of like really average in the middle. 6 is a nice, like good, I think, average position to be. Like 5 and 6 is like, if 5 is average, 6 is like right above average.
Mm-hmm.
7, you're pretty well connected. You're doing well for yourself. 8, same thing, but like you're controlling the game a bit. If you're getting a 10, it's like you're running things and like you are the singular favorite to win. And 9 is like not far behind that. So that's generally the scale. It before season 10, for me at least, it was really hard to get a 1 and a 10. Starting with season 10, I was like, you know what? No, we're not reserving them for the big special. Like I'm keeping my season 10 scale of judgment in
Mm-hmm.
terms of when I give things out. I'm not afraid to go higher if I need to, or
Mm-hmm.
lower. I don't know if Steven, you feel the same way.
I do feel the same way, and I feel like we both have to feel the same way in some sense because that's how these get judged.
True.
Um. So yeah.
Oh, Eduardo just asked, did we do a draft? I will say, yes, we did, first of all.
I already said that we were recording our first rankings. That's what prompted it.
Oh. Okay. Well, I was gonna say that fun answer. Never mind then. Whatever.
um.
Fun. Alrighty. Then with that, I'm ready to move on. If you are, Steven. Any other thoughts on Alexandra?
No, I don't. Okay, Alfred. Alfred, our big veto winner this week. Um, didn't really like gain much power from it because nothing needed to be done with it. Keeping Ari and Anna on the block. But I think Alfred is also someone who, I mean, I knew obviously when I took him that I thought he was going to be a real force in this game, and I think in the first few days he's really proven to be one. So I'm really happy with how Alfred has been doing so far and kind of the connections he's been making. And also, I just like I feel like I've been on multiple FaceTime calls with Alfred, who has been calling with other people, and I feel like he's just like such a positive guy. Like always makes other people feel really warm and welcome, and I feel like that's a good thing to have. And I always enjoy talking to him when I'm on FaceTime with him. So I'm. Oh, do you want me to my score? Do you want to go?
I can go first.
Okay.
First, please. I can go second before score. Um, I agree with everything that you said. I'm really impressed with Alfred. He's was definitely like always getting a green score from me. He's been doing really well socially. The veto for me was the thing that really bumped him up. Again, see, like what you said, Alfred didn't need the veto, nor like he didn't make a move with it, which like nor should he had. But I think it really did a lot for him. It gave him a lot of social capital to like talk to people even more. Um, but also, kind of on a similar note, Alfred is someone that, at least that I've seen, has so much agency, which I think is really key. He was really the one to start the spearhead on the Ari vote, I feel. Um, and like, do I think that the house could have ended up there eventually? Like, yeah, but like he definitely started it, and like he got it was if I had to give someone like who got Ari out, I would say Alfred was the one that started it. Um, I think that agency is great. I think people in general are really scared to play the game in the beginning, but there's a difference between like playing too messy and playing hard. And I think you need to play hard. Other people here have played hard, and they're gonna get good scores for it. Um, so I'm really impressed with Alfred. I was teetering back and forth between a 6 and a 7, but I'm going to give Alfred a 7 this week.
That's what I was gonna do too. So, I agree with that. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Okay, Anna. Um, so I mean, I guess we got kind of already covered this. Let's go through Anna's week in the Big Brother house. So, Anna does not show up for the first head of household competition. Then she is nominated the next day, on day 2. And then on day 3, before the veto competition, she's asking people to vote her out and ask people to leave. And she doesn't show up for the veto. And then on day 4, today, things just change. I think that she had a really, really busy and personal for first few days of this game, outside of the game. And I think she was really worried that because she had missed those initial moments, that she was gonna miss the whole rest of the game because she didn't make those connections really early on. And I think really all it took was a few people saying, "Hey, I want you here," for her to be like, "Oh, well, if I've already made that impression on you and you're gonna help me get back in this, then I want to be here too." So she really did a full 180 today. Um, and really, I wouldn't say she like fought too hard for herself to stay, but like she wasn't like, "I want to go home." So I feel like that's something.
She talked to more people than some others.
Including
And
Ari, the evicted
that's
house
all you
guest.
need to. That's all you need to.
Oh,
We'll get to her. Yeah.
so yeah. Um, I think just from the first week of gameplay, do I see Anna ever being running things? I don't know. I would say at this point, probably not, just from what I've seen so far. But I think if she can make it past the initial, "Oh, you wanted to go, let's vote you out" kind of thing, if that happens next week, she can
If
make it
she
past.
doesn't touch the block next week, I think she's like,
If she makes it past that initial thing, I think she could keep going. So bad week for Hannah just in general, but I'm gonna give her a 2 this week. I'm not gonna go all the way down to a 1.
that. So what's funny enough, I'm gonna give Anna a 3.
Really,
Um,
I was not gonna go that high.
because for me, I think enough people do want her around. Do I think that anyone's really gonna fight tooth and nail for her? Unfortunately, no. Um, but I think enough people do want her around. And I mean, hey, low key, kind of impressive in my mind for you to not say anything, ask to go home, but still give off the impression that you'd be useful and helpful and stay. Sad that that happened. Do you know what's more sad? Having the nominee next to you say, "I want to go home," and you still go home.
Moving on to Ari.
Ari, I'll start here.
Sure.
For those who have tuned in to rankings past, you will know that I am my biggest pet peeve in the game in terms of like a player is delusion. And when someone is delusional, because like at least if you're on the bottom, fine, but be like self-aware that you're on the bottom. I don't know what is going on in Ari's brain,
What
but
was
her
going on?
like her being like constantly like, "I'm here," even though a lot of other people aren't. I was like, Ari, you were literally like one of 2 people that didn't say anything this week. I don't know why I'm nominated. I reached out to Dally. No, you didn't. Dally reached out to you before she won HOH, said, "Hi, Ari." You said, "Hi, who is this?" And that was the whole conversation. That was it. Today when you were gathering votes, Jacob asks you, "Hey, how you feeling?" You go, "I'm not nervous." Jacob's like, "Well, why not?" "Because I'm active." "No, you're not. Who to talk to?" And then Jacob's like, "Well, why should I keep you?" And Ari said, "Because I'm active." "Oh, wait, what's your name again? I didn't save your contact." Like, come on.
Because it was
Do
cold. Because it was
do
cold.
worse. I dare you to try and do worse. The answer is like, I actually don't think that there's been a worst week 1 performance out of a person. And to think that she like did so well. I'm so confused. It's a 1 from me.
This is my
Is that a
score.
1 in your camera?
Yes.
Okay.
That's not being like, I have something to say. I don't have anything to say. That's a 1. I actually just like, I'm so glad she's gone. Like I can't
I
deal with
don't think there's ever been a week 1 across the board. A
ever.
1 across the board in and of itself is rare. So like Kudos, Ari. You did it, girl.
I don't think a one has ever. I don't think any of you, either of us, have given a one in the first week.
No.
I don't think so. No.
No, most definitely the first time.
Yeah.
Um, maybe Henry.
Yeah. Maybe.
But
Okay.
like this was not it. And on top,
Yeah.
this is just like she played her poker chip on herself. That was
She
dumb.
just
There
didn't
was
look.
no argument as to why that was a smart move. Can you
She
talk
was
about
in.
that?
She was in a group chat, and that was the extent that she knew what was going on. She was in the house group chat, and that was all she knew what was happening. She had
Like
no
literally,
other awareness of what was going on. She didn't understand the twist at all.
she
She's
only
dumb.
said two things this season. I've done more than others and racist. That's all she said. So I goodbye.
Okay, Ashley says,
Oh,
I'm so excited for the rankings. I hope you all say good things about me. So let's talk about her.
let's talk about Ashley. Ashley's watched our rankings in the past. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. Well, yeah.
Hi, future Ashley. Um,
Wait, you start. I have to say something. Hold
okay, I'll start. I feel very good about Ashley. I think Ashley is another person that's done a lot of good. Um, she's been great about just talking to everyone every day. Um, that's something that I think really goes miles in this game. It's something that, like, in my mind, is really comparing to BBSS past, something that James did very, very well. Literally just did like a check-in every day. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, what's up? Oh, how you feeling about the game? Like talks a little bit of game with each person each day and a little bit of personal. I think a lot of people really like Ashley. The only drawback I have with Ashley is I don't think a lot of bye dog, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here. The only the only thing that like slightly draws me back from Ashley is I don't necessarily think the groups that she thinks she has really have her back. And that could be a bit of a danger moving forward. For now, it's definitely fine. I really don't see her in any immediate danger. Um, so for me, I'm giving Ashley a 6.
That's what I'm giving her too. Yeah, I really think um that the most important thing right now is that you want people to like you. Whether you're in those like main groups right now, like the main groups might not even be sticking together. The big alliances might not even be, or even the small 2 or 3 person alliances might not even be sticking together for that long. What you really want is you want people to know you and you want people to have a good feeling about you in their mind. And I think Ashley is creating that. So when people move forward and creating stronger alliances in the future, they'll want to include Ashley because they like her. So I think I agree with the score. That's what I'm gonna say as well. So yeah.
So, um, yeah, I'm very excited to see what Ashley will do
Mm-hmm.
later down the line in the game. I think she'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Brady. Getting out of the
Wait.
A's.
Brady. Brady's trouble. Let's start there. Brady's
Brady's trouble.
trouble.
Brady is, who would I compare her to? Like, who has been
Hmm. I don't
like
think I think Brady is the first of her kind.
it's like a Cal and Molly mix. It's like the
No, I would not say
it's
Cal.
it's like Cal's way of like making people uncomfortable in the house chat. Well,
You're speaking personally because she said the thing about you.
like,
Don't make this personal. Make this objective.
uh so yeah, that's why I would say Cal. Well, Kate was saying the same thing. She
Moving on.
anyway.
Um,
Kate, the whole Cal and Michael situation, it's similar.
to you and Brady. Brady made a one-off joke.
Yeah, there
Um,
really is no comparison to Cal and Michael. That was crazy.
anyways,
That was nice.
Brady for me in the game.
I'm just saying. No, I was comparing who I think about her, who I compare her to when I think about her.
Brady for me, unfortunately, still is not doing great. She like is good at responding to people, but it's like mostly everyone's doing the reaching out to her. We're past the point in the game now where like a hey, I'm good. Like that's not gonna
Mhm.
get you anywhere anymore. Like you have to have some talk of substance. And I really don't think she's talked much game with like nearly anyone. And like sure there wasn't a lot of game to discuss this week, but like other people are very well situated. And not only is she not one of them, but her name I think is always going to be out there. It doesn't help that she voted in the minority this week. It certainly does not help that even though people I don't think trust anything that Ari says, because why would you, quite frankly? Um, but like it doesn't help what Ari's exit was. So I think that Brady's name could be in the fire here coming up, and she doesn't really have anyone that I think would protect her. Um, so for me, it's gonna be a 4.
Um, yeah, in all honesty, I could see going into near future weeks, she is someone that could be easily the wheel could spin on to evict when people are looking to target people.
Hmm.
I don't think she's well insulated. Um, and she voted in the minority this week. So, and people know that. So, I am gonna go for a 4.
All right, 4s across the board. Next up is Dakota. Dakota, I'm just confused. Is the best I can say. Because like Dakota's like starting on like the really good side, he is very self-aware, very clearly. When he talks to people, he's very good at picking up and saying, like, oh, so you're closer with that person than I thought. Oh, you're more connected than I thought. Oh, I'm out of the loop. Oh, I need to get back in the loop. Like, that's all great. That's really key. And he's been great at that. The part that confuses me then is when people that he notices are not in the loop reach out to him. He's like, I see what you're doing. No, no, no. I don't want to work with you. And I'm like no, no, no. You want to gather allies. Like, talk to people. Um, so that's the part. It's like I think he wants to be in with the people that he sees as being in the loop, but I don't necessarily know if that's the way to necessarily play the game. Like I think you need to talk to the people that you feel good about and are reaching out to you, to be quite honest. It's like he's got Ashley, but like Ashley has other people over Dakota. He's got Eric, but Eric has other people over Dakota. Um, so he's got Alfred, and I think Alfred is actually a really good duo for him. But Dakota's like, Alfred's too connected now. I'm like, no, 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 no. Alfred's with you. Like, so we'll see. For me, he's definitely not someone that I see as like his name hasn't really been thrown out there. He's safe, but he's not in it. And for me, that is like smack down in the middle. For me, I'm giving Dakota a
Mhm.
5 this week.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I agree with everything that you've said. I also want to add that just based off what I've been seeing this week and like kind of how he's been playing, I feel like he's someone that I could see making like a rash decision in the future or like stirring things up in a wrong way. And I feel like, in all honesty, if there are 4 more pre-jury boots to go, I could see him being one of the later ones.
I don't think he's locked. Like there are some people that I'm like, yeah, you're pretty locked for jury at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's not one of them. I could see a world where he does go in the next few weeks, unfortunately, because I really
But
like Dakota. Like, he's so
yeah,
nice and funny.
but he like I like for as for this week, that is very high speculation. Um,
Oh, and it's purely
it's
speculation.
purely
Yeah.
speculation. He was fine this week. I agree. Like smack dab in the middle of 5 is where I'm at as well.
I will say the other thing that I did like about Dakota is he at least had the willingness to discuss. A lot of people this week were
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I don't really care who goes home, yada yada yada. He was once the noms were set as Anna and Ari, was very like, great, let's rally the votes for Ari. Granted, he
Oh,
thought he was the one that flipped most of them. He wasn't. That's okay though. That's okay. Um,
mm-hmm.
he was on the right side of the vote. Um, but the other thing that I really appreciate that he did was before the veto meeting, he really talked to Alfred and he was like, okay, Alfred, like, why do we want Ari out this badly? And Alfred was like, she rubs me the wrong way, yada yada. Plus, her and Daryl are like this based off of their conversation in the house
Mhm.
chat, and we want to weaken Daryl. And Dakota was like, great, hear that. Why don't we talk to Dolly? We have the veto. Why don't we just backdoor Daryl?
Mhm.
And although I do agree it probably was not the smarter move right now, I appreciate that he was at least thinking.
Mhm. I agree with that.
That's more than some people. So
Sure. Moving on to Dally. Dally, I mean, I'll start. Dally was dominant in the first HOH competition of the season and
yeah,
took home
eight.
the win.
Eight.
So, and also in the veto, pretended like she wasn't there. And I have full confidence that if she was there, she probably would have won, in my
I
opinion.
agree. She didn't want to win, and she said that.
Yeah. So I think that if there is a bind in the future, I think she can win her way out of it, which is very bold to say right now. But she came into this like with the
She's
reputation.
giving Grace Fader. I'll say it.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the fact that they're both from Canada.
she came into the season with the reputation of man compies, so I've been told.
Yeah. And
And the first
that
competition she dominated, so I'm not surprised at all. So I think that in terms of her like physical safety in the game, like if she has to win, I think I'm very comfortable with her in that sense. Not to mention she's also in the two biggest alliances of the first week of the game, the House and the Troop. Um,
this is a textbook reason why, in general, winning the first HOH is so crucial.
mhm,
Because in general, not like Dolly's social game was good before,
mhm,
but it was like good-ish fine in terms of like her availability and being able to reach out to people,
mhm,
which is fine, no shade. But the fact that she won HOH was just like everyone was like, oh yes, I love Dolly. That's a good Dolly. And now everyone loves Dolly even more because they've like had to talk to her more. And now I
mhm,
think she's more situated than she would be. I think this is a textbook clean first HOH, no blood on her hands,
for sure.
established herself, is not going to be targeted next week. I really don't think. I'd be
Mhm.
shocked. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 7 for Dolly. Dally. Dally.
Um, I think I'm gonna go with a 6
Okay.
for the mere reason of I'll be curious to see what she does next week. Oh wait, wrong color. When she's not HOH.
Oh, be real. Oh, wait, I'll cover up the rankings.
Oh my gosh, be real. Wow.
Cover up
I
the
don't have.
colors.
Should I smile? Smile.
Wow.
Cheese. Yay, my awkward smile.
Oh shit! Wait, this is in it too. Okay, hold on. We didn't.
Are we going again?
Yes. Hold on. Wait.
How
Hold
did I
on.
not?
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I need to figure out how to do this here. We had 9 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, smile.
We're being so real.
No way. I need to do it again. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm
Again.
getting the scores in it.
Sorry,
Okay, you can
dog.
keep talk about Daryl.
Oh, well, sorry. Finishing my thoughts on Dolly first. My
Oh yeah.
biggest fear for Dolly is that she's going to not that people will forget about her, but that like her not being HOH is going to lose her some of her social capital. So I just hope she upkeeps with it. Is my hope. Yeah, Daryl. Oh, this wasn't good. This is not a good week. One, he just didn't talk to like anyone. It seems like I don't know if just he and Ari have the same idea of what being active looks like, but not talking to people is not being active. I hate to break it to the both of you. Um, at least he's been like, sorry, I have not like said anything. Like at least like it seems like he knows.
Mhm.
But Ari going, I think on the whole was not great for him. It was largely as a move to weaken him, on top of people just wanting Ari out. I mean, there's a lot of history that people have in the game with him, and granted, I don't know what that history is, but based off of the sounds of it, a lot of people don't trust him. So not great. I think unfortunately he's another one that I think will have a tough time making it out of the pre-jury for me. Um, Depending on the person that wins in HOH next week, like I think someone could be pushed to get rid of Daryl.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm going with
Um,
a 4 for Daryl because I think. Sorry, were you done?
Pretty much. Yeah, go.
I'm going with 4 for Daryl because he came in with a huge target on his back, and him not basically saying anything did not help him at all. Um, and he was in talks of being like very small talks, obviously, but like still in consideration for being back over this week. So
Yeah, if a different person won HOH and if Anna or Ari were like the slightest bit more active,
yeah,
he could have gotten the bite.
but I don't feel the
For,
need to go lower than that for right now.
gotcha. For me, in my eyes at least, if it's not Anna that goes next week, it's Daryl is one of the options. For that reason, I am going to give Daryl a 3 because I do see him as at least like Brady has good one-on-one connections with people that I think people wouldn't want to target her. Whereas like I feel like Daryl could get
Mm-hmm.
caught next week in crossfires. So for me, I'm
Cool.
at a 3.
Next, Eduardo Poole survived the Hunter Vance curse.
Survived the Hunter Vance curse of one time. Um, yeah, go Eduardo. Um,
I will say this. I think I think Eduardo and most people I don't think see it. I think Eduardo's one to watch out for. Um,
Interesting.
I think Eduardo
Respectfully,
we
Yoshi
could
to
be
Eduardo. I was not going to say that, but go on that because I
I
love it.
I think that he could be a dark horse going into not I was gonna say the second half of the season, but like the next part of the season and into the jury. I think he could be a dark horse, but we're gonna be coming back saying Eduardo's one to root for. That's just what I'm seeing. I think he has made a lot of connections with a lot of people, and at least from the calls that I've been on, everyone seems to like him a lot. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I really agree with you. I think a lot of people do like Eduardo. I see him very similar to Ashley in this sentiment, um, where a lot of people are just like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I love Eduardo." Um, my worry for Eduardo is the same worry that I have for Ashley, and it's that the people that I think he has don't really have him back the most out of other people. And I think that even less so than Ashley, I don't think he really has a group, which for this point in the game is fine. He's in the part of the people that is like good for now, I think. I don't see Eduardo going anywhere. But I do have like I would currently I have slight itty bitty concerns.
Yeah, I'm going for a 6 with Eduardo.
Um for me, I'm going to go with a 5 just because I feel like he is less connected than Ashley, Dolly, Alexandra, who are my 6s right now.
Okay.
But I think a 6 is like I was highly considering a 6 as well. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's completely.
EJ.
I can start.
I thought you were
Um,
going. Yeah.
oh, cool. I'll start. Um, I'm overly overly overall impressed with EJ. Um, I think he's pretty well connected. Um, the people that he's talked to, he really likes. I think the fact that he's in a duo with Eric is really what's like propelled him so far. Um, overall, good things. He's another person that's like in, I think, the two strongest alliances and also knows about the third mess of an alliance. And I think anytime his name gets brought up as like if someone's like, oh yeah, I haven't really talked to EJ, I don't really know about him. The other person in the conversation is like, oh yeah, I talked to him, he's totally cool. And like that in and of itself, like really goes to show that I think that you are pretty well situated. Um, he's definitely not running anything right now, but I think with time, he's someone that I think could be. Like for me, EJ, and it's weird to call EJ a dark horse because overarchingly in the fandom, I feel like he's not a dark horse type. I feel like he's a front runner. Um, but that's me having never played a full fandom game with anyone and only observing placements. So who knows? Um, for me, I'm gonna go with a 6 for EJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same thing. I think that EJ is someone that is very well known here. And I think kind of his social under the radar style is pretty known. So I'm curious to see how this plays out going in.
Interesting.
What do you say?
It's interesting that you say that because of like there's a lot of fandom people here. EJ is not one of the people that I would say a lot of people know. The only person that knew him going into it was Eric.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I could have swore I saw more people talking about him.
No, a lot of people weren't. A lot of the talk was like, oh yeah, and like and EJ is also coming. I don't know him that well. But like he reached out to Sunny and was like, hey, you know Peyton, I know Peyton. We're friends, right? Like
Yeah.
they didn't know each other before. And a
Well,
lot of people
regardless, that kind of wasn't where I was going anyway. I was more saying that it is kind of known that that's how he plays. Um, and I think that's how he's going to continue to play the more social, under the radar style of game. I'm just kind of curious to see how it kind of evolves and plays out over the course of the next few weeks. So six is I'm fine with six this week. Um, I think that's a good spot for him for right now. I think he's doing well. Eric is someone that I think is really interesting as we move into
I'll
Eric.
start on Eric. King. I feel so I was going back and forth between a lot of possible first picks for the draft, but I took Eric first, and I was proven right. I mean, granted, Alfred is definitely also going to have the second highest score, who's my other person. But Eric, I think for me, especially in the first 2 days of the game, I was like, I don't think we've seen anyone play a stronger first week in terms of literally anytime anyone was like forming an alliance or trying to like start to talk game, it always started with like, okay, yeah, like who do you like feel good with in the game that we could maybe get something going with? Everyone's first answer was, I really like Eric. I really trust Eric. And I was like, and no one is catching on that everyone is saying Eric.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. If it kept up that way, I 100% would be at a week 1-8, which is really, really high for week one. But I will say I'm not at an 8. I'll say my score is a 7 for Eric. Because while I don't think he will have any problem making it past these first couple of weeks, and probably pretty far into the game, thank goodness for the good of the game. Love Eric, but there are some people, and by some people I mean Queen Paige Matson, who's been who's really like tightly working with Eric, but it's been clearly like everyone saying they trust Eric. I therefore need to keep an eye on him and snipe him at some point. We were on a call with Sunny earlier, and she was like, I love Eric, but he's got to go. He's smart. So like he's not as out of the woods in the clear as he was day 1 and 2, I think. So for me, still very strong. I'm at a 7 for Eric, though.
You took the words literally right out of my mouth. I was going to talk about how strong he was playing, how much I love him and love talking to him, and how I think everybody really loves getting to know him. But Paige has said it. I was just going to bring up how Sunny said it. You basically said exactly what I was going to say. So I agree with all of that. But I'm very curious to see how it goes. But I'm also going to give him a 7.
Um, Overall,
I am
though, I mean,
slightly worried for him going into the near future because I think if this persists, then it could.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
But
Every time it's been brought up in a diary room.
mm-hmm,
This has not gotten out publicly at all.
mm-hmm,
The fact that it's in people's heads means that I can't go to an 8 right
mm-hmm.
now. But because of his positioning, he's in every alliance in the game. There's not an alliance that exists that doesn't have Eric in it, which is
Yeah.
insane. It really reminds me of how Juliana started the game. It reminds me of how Dalton started the game. I think really, really key to going far. And I'm just hoping he seems like he'll be able to keep it up. I don't think it's going to be a case of like no shade Eliav where it's like really, really strong and then like kind of falls out and gets caught. I think he'll be able to keep it up. The question is he going to get sniped and backdoor because of it? I think maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. We've got the Jacob. Oh, Jacob.
Speaking of Jacob, dogs. This is Penny. She came to say
Where's
hi.
Todd?
Okay, and she's down. Jacob, I've been saying it for a while, and I've never stood firmer on a point. Actually, I say that, and now I'm going to change it. For a while, I was like, Jacob is the next coming of Armani. Oh my gosh. Really strong player, really active player, but like active to the point of like you're gonna get caught in the mess that you're making really soon if you're not careful.
Mhm.
The thing that made me slightly change my mind tonight was so he voted for Anna and then immediately was like, those 3 votes: Brady, Daryl, Sonny. And that made me go like, oh, okay, maybe it is more calculated than I thought. In which case it reminds me more of Dalton. Either way, he is running the constant risk of being caught in a mess,
Mhm.
but that's fun and a lot of people trust him. So like I don't feel badly about Jacob yet. I worry for the future
Yeah,
if
me
he gets
too.
caught, but right now everyone like seems to love him.
Yeah, agreed.
For right
Let
now,
me
I
just
am
say it was me pushing for him on the
I'll
season.
give you credit. He's great. He is fantastic. I love Jacob.
Um,
I'm at a 6 for him right now.
I agree with everything you've said. Let me also just say Jacob has been like my main source of entertainment for the week. I've also just like loved getting to know him, and I think everybody else has, which I think is really good. I think that's really strong that everybody really like wants to kind of get to know him and work with him. I do worry about when he has those like I'll use the word rash again, like rash decisions to like tell someone something, and everyone's like,
For,
"Well,
for me,
what?"
it doesn't feel rash. It feels like a need to like always be playing the game. And if you're sitting and just like
Well, I
waiting for
would
the
call
thing
that
to happen,
rash.
ish. I feel like this is like it feels like for like me, if there's like a day off in this game, I feel like Jacob would be the one to be like, oh my gosh, we have to switch the entire plan.
Hmm.
Um,
So I think that when he spilled some stuff, I think a lot of
yeah,
people
that
like,
made me
"What-"
go like,
okay,
ooh.
can you stop talking?
I'm giving my thoughts. You
No,
continue to talk. I'm not
no, no,
interrupting.
no, no. This is my turn to give my thoughts. Shut up. Um. Anyway, I think that people were like, well, if you're telling me this, then what are you telling other people about me? And like, if I tell you something, where is that going to go? So I think Paige and some other people have um kind of verbalized that. So I do worry about that. But in other any every other term, I think that people really like him. I'm just a little worried about something he might accidentally do because he wants to do something and it ruins his game. So I'm gonna go with a 6-2. Any other thoughts on Jacob?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Paige.
Mm.
I love Paige. I love Paige.
You love
Let me start this
Paige.
off. Let me start this off. I am giving Paige an 8. I think Paige deserves
Wow.
an 8. I think she is so well connected. I think everybody loves her, and I think she sees through everyone's fucking bullshit. I love it. I absolutely love it. Um, and I think that I think she, I think that out of the people who have come before her in her heritage line, so the Haley, the Nora, the Tess, I think that she is the strongest from week one. Nora close from 7,
I would say Nora's up there as well.
but I think Paige is gonna give
In
this
terms of her perceptiveness, I
a
totally agree.
run for its money. I'm saying this now. Paige, like, I'm not gonna jinx it. I think whose team is Paige on, by the way? Is she on yours?
Mine.
Fuck. I think I would be shocked if she didn't make it to at least like top 7. I would be shocked. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I fully agree. Because Paige, in my mind, she's very much a hold my cards close to my chest, use them when I need to. Paige is not someone that I feel like is going to be caught in a lie or something. Like the worst thing that happens to Paige is like she's not socially connected enough
Mm-hmm.
in like alliances. But I think in terms of one-on-one connections, she's fine. I'm gonna give Paige a 7 just because I think for me the main thing holding her back is I think there are people that are like for me, I see Eric as being a step ahead of her in the game right now. I see Alfred as being a step ahead of her in the game right now. I even see like Jacob. I think
But I think
being a
Eric
step
and
ahead. Yo,
Jacob.
stop talking. This is my turn to
Sorry, you're
talk.
right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
um,
It was just funny because you jumped in literally every sentence. The last one.
I was just saying yes. Oh, that yeah, so true.
Okay, you go. Keep going. Keep going.
Um, yeah. Now I forgot what I was gonna fucking say.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it?
Um, oh yeah, where I see some people ahead of her in the game right now, but for the longevity of her game, she sees those people that are ahead of her. She says, Eric's connected to everyone. She says, I don't know why Jacob is telling me all this information, but I'm going to use it against him and anyone I need to, if I need to. So like she's clearly very smart and not afraid to, I think, make the moves and specifically the right moves. So I totally agree. She is one to really watch out for. And I think no one sees it because she's not someone that anyone knew going into this.
And going off of what you said about some people being stronger than her, this is exactly what I said about Dan. And granted, it happened a lot later than it should have, but this is exactly what I said about Dan last season. How yeah, he's the front runner now, but he's not going to be very soon because he's making too much of a big name for himself. He should have been gone like the first few weeks of the jury, but people were stupid, and Maris Meyer exists. So, um, I think that Eric's gonna get caught. I think Jacob's gonna get caught. And I think Paige is gonna be the Kristen Rake and kind of come out from the shadows. And I don't know. We'll see. That's just my early prediction. But
See.
yeah, okay. Sunny.
Sunny. Um, I was like back and forth as to where I feel about Sunny because for me, I mean, coming into this game, I said it in the draft, and I found it so funny that like literally one of the first interactions was Dolly reaching out to Sunny and being like, "I love you. Oh my gosh, you're here. You don't know me, but I'm Dolly." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, they don't know each other." And Dolly says, "Like, oh my gosh, I love you." Um, like Sunny's like famous. Like everyone knows her, or like of her, and like for good reason, because iconic. Um, and I think that big target, like I think Sunny played this first week really the way that she needed to, because if she played it out in front, I totally agree. She's probably out of here pretty early. So like,
Mm-hmm.
thank goodness she didn't. Because of that, I think a lot of people, even though she's not talking to people super often, in a lot of people's talks, they were like, "Oh yeah, and Sunny, we'll bring her in. Oh yeah, and I really like Sunny." Like her name keeps coming up as someone to bring in, not as someone to target.
Yeah.
Which I think is great for her. And if there's anything to know about her, she's not gonna not make a move if she needs to. So like I'm not worried about that in the
Mm-hmm.
slightest. So I'm feeling pretty good. The last couple of days, I'm like, are you too under the radar though? And this
Mm-hmm.
last vote does make me nervous because we're not judging past the eviction. And in theory, I don't know what happens after the votes come in and
Yeah.
Ari goes home. I'm going to stick with what my original score for Sunny was, and that's a 6. But if I was taking into account what happened with the votes and how she is getting pinned for one of the votes right now, I think she'll be able to clear it up. But right now she's being pinned for being in the minority. Um, like I was considering a 5 as well. I think she's definitely on the lower end of the 6 scale.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the fact that I don't think she's being seen as like a main force right now, or like she's always someone that like people want to rope in. It's not someone that like they're talking about forming something with, if that makes sense. So that's something that I definitely worry about where it comes time to prioritize allies. Is she going to be someone that people really stick with over some other people? I don't know. In general, I feel like this week has been fairly average for her. I feel like that's potentially a good thing because she is probably the
I'd
biggest
call
name
it the
coming in.
highest profile
She's
here.
probably the biggest name coming in here.
Yeah.
So I guess for her to be someone of that high profile and to come in here, I feel like maybe she needs to be a little forgettable for a little bit, which I guess is good. But this week I am gonna put her at a 5 because I
Yeah,
think
and I
she
think that's
deserves
fair.
like being average, which is fine.
100%. Alrighty. Yeah, I think for me, she's the one that I'm most curious to see like where she goes next. For
Mhm.
most people, I can kind of see a path to like where they're gonna go, what's gonna happen. She's the biggest question mark for me.
Mhm. Okay.
Finally, wrapping up rankings number one,
Yoshi.
Yoshi. Oh, I actually think. Okay, so let's start off. Let's go chronologically. Yoshi started off to like I say, it's impossible to be play too hard, only too messy. Proven wrong. Yoshi played too hard. Just texting everyone, and I just think it's the way that like he compliments everyone so much, which is great. But in a game where it's like, is someone being fake to me? It comes off as being fake, and a lot of people have been like, he's playing me, he's flirting with
Yeah,
me,
for sure.
yada yada. I don't trust it, and a lot of people don't trust him because of it.
For sure.
His saving grace was making the alliance, the troop, because although, in my opinion, it is A, far too large, and B, very poorly assembled by him, at the end of the day, going into next week, I think the people in that alliance are inclined to target other people than him because Yoshi is not going to target them first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So long term prospects, really not great. Short term prospects, still not that good, but slightly better. So for me, I'm giving Yoshi a 4, sadly.
Yeah, I think in my opinion on Yoshi, I feel like he was the one in the beginning that um literally reached out to pretty much everybody, and I think everybody like people
And
really
everyone knew
saw
it
it,
immediately. Yeah.
which is never good. That's never something that you want to do is reach out to everybody in the beginning and have everybody notice that you reach out to everybody and copying and pasting the same exact message. Never works out. Granted, he has come back from that. I really thought
Yeah, in the last 2 days, I think as the focus went on Ari, like I agree with you that he has come back. That's why I'm not any lower than a 4
and
because
I
I
think
think that like he could have resurfaced.
so yeah, I think that he definitely came back from uh that beginning because usually when people do that, I'm like, that's the sign of a bad Big Brother player, and I could see you going out early, like first. Um, there were someone else needed to be taken out this week. But I think that people are having a lot of one-on-one conversations with him, which I think is really strong. And honestly, like I feel like he's also been pretty average this week. I'm gonna go for a 5 on Yoshi. Um, and I'm kind of also interested to see like what happens with him next, like where he decides to go and what happens. So yeah,
Yeah, if he can recover from week 1, I do think he could be okay.
yeah,
Right now, I have a tough time believing that he makes it out of the pre-jury. With there being 4 boots left in the pre-jury,
mm-hmm.
for me, if the game continues down the path that it does, and quite frankly, I think it's possible that it could.
Mm-hmm.
I think in no particular order, the next 4 will be Anna, Brady, Daryl, and Yoshi,
Interesting.
as I see it right now. With maybe Dakota being thrown in there as a possible alternate in that group.
I would say Anna, Brady, Daryl, and Dakota. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Um, all right, well,
We'll say
that is it for the first week.
see
At the
everybody after Christmas.
well, I would recap, but at the
Oh yeah.
top of the list of everyone, we've got Paige, who I'll be real, coming into today, I don't think I would have like said in my brain, oh, she's gonna be the one with the top ranking. Um, right behind her is Eric, and Alfred, who I think in my mind are the top people right now. But I do agree long term it is going to be Paige. So those three are at the top. Ari, of course, is down at the bottom playing, in my opinion, one of the worst starting games in Big Brother I've ever seen. Delusion City is where she lived,
And
not her
ending
house.
games.
And ending games. It was bad. Not far behind her. Anna makes sense. Was on the block. I'll be interested to see if she turns it around, but I do think it's possible that people just talked about taking her out next week, so they will, but we'll see.
I hope
And
not.
then
Anna for
Daryl.
HOH. Anna for HOH.
Yeah, that would be crazy. And then Daryl right behind them as being probably the person most affected by Ari. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Cool. See everyone after Christmas for our second eviction.
After Christmas.
In like a week, almost.
1, 2. Like 5 days.
Okay. Goodbye.